All right, all you freedom loving boys and girls. Hey, welcome to the video. I'm going to talk about our fork in the road sale. That's right. And some people might already know what I'm talking about, especially if you looked at the thumbnail. Huge shout out to our friend Blackbeard for that thumbnail, by the way. But I'll get in that in a second. Let me just talk about the sale first. So last week, I was going to go and do a show, the third annual Minnesota Prepper Fest. Unfortunately, at the last second, we weren't able to do it and kind of had to back out. And then that kind of led into the sale. So, because I've been like a squirrel getting ready for winter. I've been hoarding little pieces of gear so I'd have some gear to go out there for that show that we were going to do. That was a 3-day show. So I've got some gear on hand. So that's why you see the next business day. But just like before during last Christmas, next business day, it's not custom, right? It's well, and I'll show it to you in a second. So we've got a very limited number of next business day items, and then we've got our normal custom made items. But what you'll notice is where I can do it, I cut the prices as pretty much as low as I can go. Seriously, there's barely any room in there for me to get a glass of milk, or an egg or two out of it. And there's a reason for it, because now here's where I'm going to talk about, why did I come up with the name, the Fork in the Road sale? I should have again, you've heard me say it a bunch of times, I should have a tinfoil hat, but hey, you do you, right? You don't have to believe what I believe or think or see what I see, right? But I'm seeing that we, boys and girls, all of us, each of us, we're all living in history right now. And I think that history, the direction we go in history is the equivalent to a fork in the road. If we go down one path, this might be our extinction moment. And then again, and I'm, people are like, oh, here we go. You're overdoing it. I don't know, man, the threat of thermonuclear war just isn't really that cool with me. And then even if we go in the better direction and we go towards a future for humanity that we really are doing space exploration, and we're talking zero pointer, anti-grav technology and all this stuff, even to get there, you can see the forces of evil in the world who don't want any of that to happen. So while we're all focused on, the next big thing or the next whatever agenda item that we're all supposed to be mad about, no one is still talking about the economy. No one's been held accountable, for the Epstein, like, how is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? She's apparently in jail for trafficking children, but she trafficked them to nobody, right? So there's, and look, and there's a whole litany. We could go down all these different issues, but the economy is a major freaking issue, right? And so is being a nation of laws. And if we're not going to hold, powers to be accountable, and if no one's going to go and, by accountable means, hey, look, you get a fair trial, you go to court, and if you're found guilty of committing fraud and abuse against the government or defrauding taxpayers or siphoning off billions of dollars to your pet projects, then you just money launder those back into your own pockets or to your political apparatus. Yeah, you need to go to jail. Those are huge crimes. And we'll never survive as a constitutional republic if we don't do it. So that's the fork in the road that I personally think where we are right now. I'm not joking. I believe each and every one of us is living in a moment of history. You may not see it around you right now, but we're living in a moment of history. No matter which way that goes, if you want to say that's political or that's, international security, international relations, what does that have to do with gear? Well, I think gear is downstream of that. All of these events that take place up here, whether it's political, man-made, or natural, it's going to flow downstream at some place. You might want to have a piece of gear to help you better adapt to or respond to that situation. Hey, here in northern Minnesota, but out in the west central part of the state, last weekend, they got hit with a huge straight line windstorm, like thousands of trees knocked down, people without power. I mean, so again, you don't get to pick and choose Mother Nature. And unfortunately, no president's ever listened to me, on my foreign policy advice. So, we don't get to pick and choose that stuff, right? So you got to be prepared. That's mindset, that's physical fitness, that's training, and that's a good piece of gear. And on that note, I guess I'll show some of the things that we have for the next business day, talk a little smack about my gear, right? And then we'll wrap this video up. But we only have a handful of things. So again, You know, I'm doing the work orders and you guys come first, but where I was able to, I squirreled a couple little items away. So if you see it on the website, there's for the next business day, there's not a lot of options and colors. Like we had a few more during Christmas. This is, like I said, was what I was able to squirrel away. So, you know, we've got some folding saw pouches. Now this one's a Nemesis. So, you know, I'm going to have to keep track of this stuff. Or if you got a question, you know, give me a holler. We've got some big boy folding saw pouches. This one happens to be in Ranger Green and Coyote Brown. I only have 2 everyday organizers. Do I have them up? Yeah, there we go. One's in multicam, one's multicam black, but if you can see, they also have the Cerakoted snaps. So I've got 2 of these guys. I think I've got 4 padded strap wraps, a couple in black and a couple in Nemesis. Same thing on the belt pouch and the utility pouch. I think I only have 4 of each of these off the top of my head, and I only have them in black. And that's cousin husband's phone ringing off. What kind of production do we have here going on? I did not have a whole lot of mothers, but I'm going to come. Well, here, actually, let me just finish with mothers. Got a handful of scouts. This is another scout Nemesis. And I only was able to do like a handful of mothers. These take a little bit longer to make. But I wanted to point out on the mother, I am basically giving the mother away right now on the website because this is a great piece of gear. And again, I really do humbly believe we're at a crossroads, a fork in the road. And even if we go towards, you know, the light and a brighter future, I personally think there's still going to be a whole bunch of pain and a whole bunch of issues, just even where we are on that road right now. So this right here, ball game, hiking, camping, foraging, hunting, zombie apocalypse, nuclear fallout, whatever it is, this is a damn good product. I want to see it in more people's hands. Well, so that's kind of wrapping it up. And then the custom side here, I guess, custom side is still the custom side. We got a little bit of a lead time, but we just worked our butts off to reduce that lead time. Now on the website, I think it says 30 to 40, but we're really going to try to do like an every other week thing to keep it really controlled so we can get the products out to you men and women as quickly as we can. And then, you know, my final comment is we're going to run the sale all the way through the 4th of July weekend. Now, I'm not going to tell you my tinfoil hat, you know, reasoning for why the 4th of July weekend. But for me personally, I think the 4th of July weekend is going to be, you know, it's that pivotal moment. It's that nexus. It's if things happen between now and then, or if something happens that I'm kind of seeing dots on the wall, then we're going to be taking the fork in the road leading towards the sunshine. If these other things don't happen, I just think it'll be a matter of time before. I mean, here, I'll just say it this way. If you're a smart defense lawyer, wouldn't you just simply say, well, my client's innocent? Well, upon what grounds, you know, Mr. Lawyer? Well, because you haven't arrested any of these people over here, and look at all the crap they've done. No one's being held accountable on this side, so how in the heck can you hold my guy accountable? Somebody's going to start doing it. We're about to lose our rule of law. Well, it could, maybe. I hope I'm wrong, right? I really do. But so we're going to have a sale, try to celebrate it. This 4th of July is our 249th anniversary, so we're getting ready for next year, our 250th anniversary as a country. I really want it to be a great 4th of July. We're going to run that sale, like I said, all the way through 4th of July weekend. 4th of July weekend for me is like a critical kind of nexus. And I'll keep my eye on what's going on. And I really honestly do think we're in that moment of history, boys and girls. You know, smile about it, you know, enjoy it. You know, and if it goes sideways, at least spend it with friends or out in nature, you know, as opposed to hiding in your basement worrying about it. And if it goes the way that I really hope does happen, there's still a lot of heavy lifting to be done. So, and anyway, and if you go back into the before time, and if you go into the this more recent dark ages that we just went through for the last 4 years, you know, maybe your takeaway is, hey, I really should be spending more time outdoors with the family and exercising and things of that nature anyway. So as always, if you got questions, comments, reach out. I will do the best I can to help you out. Until then, and always, keep thinking, keep moving, never quit. All right. Well, I'll have more sale videos, so we'll see you again soon. All right, everybody, be good. Woo!